Hello, welcome. So, I'm supposed to give a lecture here about what I do with art. And I want this lecture to have another format, which would be a little bit more easygoing. So, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to ask questions, please. And feel free to give your opinion. I will try to make a tour about my work for the last 10 years, because this residency period has allowed me to understand and to investigate what I have been doing since then. I hope you find it interesting, and please ask and please interrupt, okay? So I will start with who I am, because otherwise this is senseless. I was born in Mexico. I am a Mexican culturally. I lived in USA 1 year in California when I was a kid. I had the fortune to be there and to learn English.
Hi.
Hello. Is this better?
Like this, maybe?
I don't want to eat it. Okay.
No, but be close.
Is this better?
No, be close.
It's close.
All right.
Okay. So, where were I? I was born in Mexico, raised in Mexico, lived in California 1 year. My first memory, or one of my first memories, is an earthquake. This is 1985, and we had a huge earthquake in Mexico, and this, in a way, awakened me. I was born in 1982, by the way. I'm 35 years old. I studied arts. I made a bachelor degree in the Mexico University. This was like a classic academy where I learned modern and ancient art. I made a master degree in Spain, in Valencia, where I kind of developed a more postmodern and contemporary practice. And I'll tell you about what I like in life, because this is stuff you can read, in my CV and on the internet, and doesn't say anything about me. So I'm a traveler. I like to travel. I love to be in different places. I like to be outside my comfort zone. I used to climb rocks. And this for me is important because it shaped my brain. It shaped my emotions. I was very close to become a soccer player, and I like to play football soccer. We call it football soccer. I'm sorry for that. I know you guys call it football for the end, there's a difference there, but well. I like to play games. I love cooking. I love nature. I'm really into education, and when I say education, I mean learning and teaching, both. By learning, I mean, get to understand new things. Teaching, do what I can with kids or adults. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that's who I am in a way. This profile of a climber and soccer player made me be very close to adrenaline. And I like adrenaline, so I'm used to being these stages and managing my brain when in a crisis or when in a strange situation. That's basically where I come from. And now I'm going to tell you the story that I prepared for today, which is what I do with art. And I'm going to start with how... Whoa. We have a strange sound there. Okay. I will start with a campaign of education I was involved in through which I met the character of a film I produced later on. So we're gonna go back in time for 10 years. I'm 25 years old. I finished my school and I'm looking for a job. And to be an artist and to get a job is not something like easy to find, you know, it's a bit hard. So I asked around, like, with my friends and colleagues, like, I'm looking for work and I need help. So they told me, there's a group of people that are working with art and kids. Why don't you get in touch with them? So I got in touch with them and I started to work in this project, which is a very beautiful natural area in the north of Mexico that had an ecological catastrophe. What happened here was they were growing food for the cows in order to produce milk, and they were using the water from these very ancient pre-Hispanic ponds, and they were drying them up. So that's where we appear as a group of educators that are involved with environmental issues and that have to do something about it. So we go to this place, which is called Cuatro Ciénegas. The translation would be Four Ponds, which is a beautiful place. It's a desert with water, which is quite unique. But the real uniqueness about this area is that this water has these colonies. As you can see, there's like a rock down here. This is actually not a rock, it's a colony of bacteria, and these are very old. They're the first organism in the planet, and they're supposed to be in charge of putting the sky blue. So they made a lot of oxygen during a lot of years. These ponds were being dried, and this way of living was disappearing. So the government went in, they declared this area a natural reserve, and this is how we started to work here. What we were doing, we were doing this physical work with the kids to get their attention and then to focus on different artistic activities. So first we would go and run like deers, or run around like birds, or do this kind of exercises in order to get their energy focused. And then we would start to produce art objects or toys. This is a very unique area. Those are the stromatolites, this colony of bacteria right there. And they don't seem very important or very unusual, but they actually are very unique. So our task was to make the young aware of this situation. Why? Because they were like the next generation. So in order to really transform the reality, instead of working with the old people, we were trying to work with the very young ones. So we started to grab things around and to use like organic materials and mix them with paint. Then we started to collect some trash and make some recycling processes. We were in every elementary school of this area for about 8 years. And we would do missions there 2 times a year. During this process, we realized that if we wanted to be like really into an environmental position or an ecological position, we needed to grab garbage and start to recycle that. So that we did. We made a lot of works throughout the years. This is just like a resume of what we did. It was a very nice job, actually. We were relating the themes they were using to create with their nature and with their environment. So here you have a coyote, for example. You have a turtle here. Well, you have a crazy boy here. And we started to grow the work. We started with small scale things, and then we started to grow. We started to build caves and to recycle tires and to do like bigger things. And it started to be more like, instead of painting and drawing, it was more like installation work. And then we found really good trash, and we started to build this beautiful, I would say artworks with the kids. This is like a cactus with a flower, because cactus, they have flowers, you know. This is a strange monster they created out of PET recycling, and these are the eyes of the desert. And what we started to find, it was that the most important part was not the result, but the process with the kids, the social engagement we were developing through the process. This is a beautiful turtle. It's gorgeous, right? What do you call these jellyfish? It's a jellyfish out of PET. These are birds. So this is a very poor area, actually. And kids were very creative because they don't have anything at all. So when we told them they were going to build their own toys, they were really happy. So this is how I got to this place. Second part of the story is I meet a guy that lives from trash, whose name is Juan, as if John. And I am trying to go to the trash, like municipal trash bin or the municipal area where they do the trash. And I'm asking around, and they say, just go forward. And I go forward and forward and forward, and I get to this place, and I realize, okay, we're here. So I start to grab some trash in order to work with the kids. And eventually this man appears here. I could notice that someone was like working here or living here, because it was not just the garbage thrown away. It had some arrangements. Then I found some animals, a lot of pigs, a lot of dogs, a lot of cats, chicken, donkeys, some snakes, a lot of pigs, by the way. And this guy appeared. So he actually found me robbing his trash. So I was stealing some beautiful trash when this guy came and said, "That's mine." And I said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was yours." I explained him why we were using the trash and what was the purpose of this. And the guy was very gentle and said, "If this is the purpose for you grabbing my garbage, go ahead. You can grab whatever you want." So in a way, he became like a sponsor of the project, right? And I said, okay, we're not going to take your garbage. We're going to bring it back, but we're going to bring it back as if it was art. So after the kids made the sculptures or toys, I would bring them back to this place and put them on the, install them around. And the guy was happy. I think he was more happy to have someone to talk to. And then he was sharing his trash. So I started to relate to this man. He's a very intelligent guy. His full name is Juan de la Garza Carranza. His nickname is Juan Perros, which would be John Dogs. That would be the exact translation. And this is the nickname he got in his town. Why? Because he's surrounded by dogs, and because he's the last one in the social scale. So this nickname was like a way to say, you're the dog of the pack, you're the last one. I knew this man lived from trash because he told me. He also told me he had a very strange childhood because her mother was very bad to him and lived from trash also. That's how he learned these processes. But his father, he was kind of an artist or something in town. He used to take films from Chaplin to this town. He used to produce the circus. They used to make music with their parents. So there were very peculiar people there. And he was born from them, from a strange relation. I'll talk about it later. Then he told me, I'm alive miraculously. And I was like, yes, I can tell. And he said, no. They tried to kill me, not because I live from trash, because they tried to kill me. And I was like, how was that? And he said, well, yeah, I was working in this place and they assaulted me, they hit me, they stabbed me, and eventually with an axe they hit me in the head, twice. And I survived. And I was like, wow, did you go to the hospital? And he said, yeah, I was in the hospital for 2 days. And then after no aspirin, no nothing, they told him, you're ready to go. And since then, he found refuge aside society, through garbage, surrounded with his animals. What is interesting about his relation with his animals is that he doesn't kill them, he doesn't sell them, and he doesn't eat them. So in a way, he has this kind of shepherd position where his mission is to keep them alive in a free way. What I think about this is he's giving to his animals what he couldn't get from society or from life. So this is how I met this guy, and after this long story he told me, I said, well, and do you want to tell your story, or you just want to keep it in private? And he said, no, I'm writing my memories. And I was like, wow, that sounds good. Sounds like a script or sounds like a book. And so I encouraged him to write. Next year, when I go to my work with the kids, I go to find Juan, and everything in this place is burned. Eventually, he appears in a good shape, strong guy, and I ask him what happened. And he's like, you know, they put fire here because they want to get me out of here. They want to get rid of me. And I asked, well, what did you lose? And he said, everything, all my papers, all my IDs, my birth certificate, my memories, the script we were writing or the book we were writing, photographs, personal items, everything. And this for me was a very interesting point. It was a turning point because I said, okay, this guy has no longer a relation with his state, with his government, with his local community. He's not a number, he's not an ID, there's no register of him. So in a way, he had disappeared. He was nobody. Instead of Juan Perros, he was Juan No One. So I asked him, would you like me to help you to tell your story? And he, of course, said yes. So I started to go very often to visit him. First, I was taking only pictures, and I was asking myself what to do with him, how to manage, and how to react as an artist to this situation I found But I had to go to Spain because I got a grant to study my master's degree. So I told him, okay, I'll be back in 2 years with a camera. And then you can tell your story. And he agreed. So this is 2010, 2009, maybe. And this is 2017. This is 2 months ago, after presenting his film in his town. So after 10 years of hard work, I got to finish the film. I presented the film in some festivals. The film went well. We won some prizes. And then I went to this town to present the movie to this guy. These are my friends helping me. This is Juan presenting the invitation for the premiere. And here we're building a theater. We built a theater to present the movie. This is the entrance of the theater. So we did 2 presentations of the film. This was like a private one and like a closed presentation for Juan, so he felt comfortable. And then I asked for the auditorium of this city, and we presented there the movie. It was crowded, maybe 400 people. There was a beautiful reaction, and this in a way closed this circle I was involved in, because I was giving Juan something back. I was finally putting him in a different position in his society. And this for me was the main purpose of the project. This is Juan getting ready for the premiere. He lives like this. He's there. I help him when I can from time to time. I visit him, not as often as I could or as I want to, but we're very close friends. So, how I made this movie possible. This is the 3rd part of this lecture. And this is my paintings. I am a painter. It's really hard for an artist to survive and to live from your work. I'm sorry. But I needed to, to live from my work in order to be happy. So I found my way making drawings. And I found a gallery found me, and I started to sell my drawings. So what I was doing was transforming the Juan Perro's project. So this is called Kraken. My plastic or painting or drawing work is very related to nature and to humankind, and that exact point where they collide. This is called kephalia, which in Greek is headache. This is called like water flows. So what I'm really interested is how these very strong natural processes are managed by humans, or how humans confront themselves in nature. And this is the main point of my work. How something artificial is in the middle of a natural area or the other way around, and how we have lost this bond to our origin. This is called billboard for sure. This is called sequoia bonsai. So it's a silly joke. How would you produce a sequoia? You know what sequoias are? Like these huge trees? How to produce a sequoia like artificially? You would need a very cold fridge, a lot of lights, and a lot of time. This is an installation work or extended drawing. So I placed this drawing in a wall in New York, and then I extended the drawing over the wall. And it's a very complex narrative, but basically it's a journey like to go in boundaries. You can see a big wall right there, which is like the border between Mexico and the USA. And you see there's a lot of things going on right there, like this guy in a canyon that wants to cross through the other side, or the guy that just crossed beneath the flag. For me, this strange, like in boundaries situation is a way to reflect the Mexican culture, because we're very close to the US. So it's interesting. There's a lot of Mexicans in the US also. So there's a new culture there. There's a hybrid. And I like these hybrid things. I like when things collide and then become something else, something new. I was very impressed while living in Harlem by the, like, people that have low income cannot afford to have a good meal. And this for me was really impressive. Like, you could be poor without being in a hunger position, but the other way around. This is a very Mexican symbol. This is how we carry fruit with these boxes, but this is also how we put signs in the street to put your car or something like that. So for me, it has a lot to do with my homeland. This is an exhibition I produced, and I put a lot of works on the walls, and I also installed objects I've been collecting around. Trash from Juan, and objects collected through my journeys or travels. And last but not least, this is a work called To Hold and Behold. And maybe this is the argument of what I think I can do or what I do with art. To create maybe a chance to, I don't know, to go up a wall, to get rid of a division. So maybe that's what I do with art, but I can respond that after this fourth part, which is what I've been doing here in Jerusalem. So I was invited through Mayan Shelef, the beautiful lady that presented me, to come here. And I was really excited. This is my studio at Art Cube Studios. They're hosting me. It's a beautiful place. I highly recommend you to go there. I have 1 month residency period here. And what Mayan and I managed to create was a pretext to analyze Jerusalem's reality. And this pretext was trash and garbage disposal. So what I started to do is to walk around, walk like infinitely, and I started to find peculiar things that were left around. I was very interested in this east-west position, so I went into tours to get to know both sides. I gathered with a lot of people to try to understand their reality. And I went to neighborhoods that we usually don't go, or we are like recommended not to go to. And then I started to see things that you don't usually see. For example, there are not like the best trash services in some neighborhoods, as you can see. Other neighborhoods have best services. It's full of carts like this. They're very useful. And people that live from trash, they need one. It's like a basic need. There are beautiful trash bins and very ugly ones, so I've been analyzing all of them. I found that cats are the symbol of trash in Jerusalem. They live there. Like if you go to throw something to the bin, maybe 3 or 4 cats are gonna pop out. So I started to make friends, cat friends. I was also interested in how municipality or people use carts in order to transport garbage or get rid of it. Also trash as forgotten objects or things that are not useful anymore, but nobody's gonna pick them up. Back there you can read Terra Sancta. For me it was strong to see this like garbage just next to this. I mean, I'm not judging, I'm just presenting what I saw. This is part of the old city. I'm also interested not only in trash and garbage, but like the discarded objects or discarded people or discarded animals. Or left abandoned cars. I think it's beautiful. There are always cats and cards. And then I went to these areas where Palestinians live, where they're not allowed to build. They have no permission to build there. There is a process to get this permit, but it's almost like a riddle. It's impossible to get there. So there's a phenomena here in Jerusalem which is about the demolitions and people being displaced from their houses and their homes. So I was also interested in this and how people throw away and where and what. And I started to follow the guys that live from trash. This is Street Heleni Hamalka, I'm sure you know it. This is one of the Orthodox areas very nearby. This is how they pack and recycle. Cats everywhere. I don't know why this guy was so sad, but I like his t-shirt. Reduce, recycle, and reuse. It's beautiful, right? But he was really sad. I mean, I didn't ask him why, but he was sad. There's a lot of building in West Jerusalem. A lot of things are being built. I am also interested in the social relations that come from trash and the meanings that are contained there. So maybe somebody can help me to translate this. But what we can see is a soldier inside a trash bin.
That's the hero of the neighborhood fell in the trash bin, which is kind of a word thing, because fell in the trash bin means
Discard.
trapped.
So this is like, there's a huge thing because Jewish, Orthodox Jews don't want to go to the military service. So I think this is related. There have also been some protests recently, like yesterday and the day before, which I don't know why, I crossed through them. I'll show you some pictures about it. Cats are always in these discarded places, and they live there. And now I have a lot of friends in my neighborhood. These are the demolitions. So the guy with the red shirt on the back, that guy built 2 houses for his family. And both were teared down. They were demolished. Actually, he had to demolish. This is the remainings or the crumbs of his house. And when I asked him, can I take a picture of you? He said, yes, but in the main entrance. And he sat there. That's the main entrance. He had to leave everything behind. And this was a very interesting moment because I had just come from Mexico and we had an earthquake. I don't know if you heard about it. It was very bad. And I was helping in this rescuing process, giving food and medicines and, giving a hand there. So suddenly I was in this place and I was like, am I back in Mexico or am I it was a very weird position in that moment because I was looking at the same things. This is something I found in the middle of the street, and I think it's a very tender thing to say. And then Yom Kippur arrived, and nothing moved. It was beautiful. It was like a movie set, because everything was quiet. If you could stop time for a moment, it was really, really nice. Then I found these. I don't know what they are, if they are trash, of their art objects, or what they exactly are, but I think they're very interesting. I know they're plants, but they have this weird thing over them, like they're covered with paint and gloss and they're fancy. And then I went to this place where they are throwing a family out of their home because there's this law before 1948, and there are new owners that are claiming this property. So I found there's a big movement of people making this visible. The guy on the left, on the back, that guy is being thrown out from his house in a week. So, okay, and these are the protests from the Orthodox Jews because of the military service thing. So I have to cross through this area to go to my place, because I live in Eleni Hamalka. And there's a precinct or a prison or something there. So I'm crossing through this area, and eventually the militars striked towards the Jews. And we had to run. I was running with them. For me, it was a very weird position because I couldn't understand anything. And so I went into this door with a guy, and I asked him, hey, what's going on? And he said, ba 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 ba. And I was like, can you explain in English? And he said, no English. Okay. So we had to run again, and we had to run again, until I found a lady, and I said, hey lady, can you help me? What's going on here? She explained. And then they regrouped, and they struck again against the militars. And the militars went back against them, and so this happened again and again for about 20 minutes. I was quite surprised because it was a very aggressive situation from both sides. Like, it was really aggressive. But it was also very normal. And this I didn't understand. As you see in this picture, they're kind of attacking the guy, and as you see in this picture, the guy is defending himself. This went on and on and on and on. I'm going to close this narrative now. I'm going to try to explain what this has allowed me to understand here in Jerusalem. I think the less important thing is what I found in trash, inside the trash. Like, I found some interesting things, I found some beautiful cans in Palestinian side that are like flattened by cars. I found a lot of bread in Orthodox Jew neighborhoods, a lot of bread. But besides that, I didn't find anything that was very interesting or peculiar. Why? Because we are a globalized society. Trash is very similar everywhere. But I think trash, it's a reflection of our culture. And in this way, it's a very democratic material because it contains us all. It has all the colors. We are all involved in the process of producing trash. We are all involved in the process of buying things in the supermarket with our cart, which is like going to a gallery, very fancy things. But then after you use them, you just throw them away. And they become something that has no value at all. And this for me has a very interesting meaning because it's a metaphor with art. Like art can be very expensive even though it's unuseful. Or art can be unuseful in a practical sense, but useful in a spiritual sense. This is a flea market. This is the central market. And this is maybe a Juan Perros. This would be like we have this, because of our economic system, we have this in every society. I found this guy while searching in a Palestinian neighborhood, and he had these beautiful cans that were new, and I was after the old cans. So I was quite like, I didn't want to be unrespectful, so I was like digging into his garbage, and I realized like cans are really different. And what I noticed is that there are these cans that have a 30-cent sign. So these cans can be, like they can sell them, but if they don't have this sign, they can't. So even in the cans, we have this invisible barrier. So what trash is reflecting me here in Jerusalem, in this society, is that we need to dialogue. This is what is reflecting me. Like, there's a division, a very big division here, and we're not talking about it, and this way it's not going to disappear or get better. And what we don't talk through the day is not going to disappear through the night. So what I noticed is, okay, there's a huge disconnection here. And this was not told to me. This was given to me by the material I was investigating, the trash I was into. I believe that trash will become a geological layer of our era. Like we're all producing trash and we're putting it beneath us. So from time to time, I think of myself as a future historian going back and analyzing, like in archaeology, what this society used to do or what this society is doing. What are the main components? And I think it's kind of scary because we're producing too much trash. That's why. A lot of PET, a lot of aluminum, a lot of iron, a lot of silicon. And we're not doing anything about it. Like, we're actually not doing anything about it. So I think the first thing we have to do is to address the point, to make it visible. maybe this sounds a little bit political, like going to the trash this way or through this perspective. And I think trash is very political. Why? Because it contains us all, and we all practice it. Not like in democracy, that only some groups participate in it. We all participate in trash. So in a way, trash has been this beautiful pretext to get to know this amazing land, which I think it's kind of a cross point in history. Everybody has been here, crossed here. Everyone has wanted to be here or to own this place. And I think we can all coexist. That's my position. I know it's a very naive position because situation here is very complex. But I think we can really like get to coexist in a place. How? I don't know. Like, we really need to build strategies. And this is, in a way, what art does. Art is a language, I think, is a meta-language that articulates the rest of the dialects. I think art is a way to understand. So for me, for example, a strategy I use is I don't like to have prejudice about things. I don't like to be blind. I don't like to know things in advance. So what art allows me to do is to get rid of everything I know and then go towards a reality to try to understand it. And this is made through empathy. And I think empathy is the most important word in art, because it's the first thing we need to put in a basket in order to have an art dialogue, to have empathy for each other. I think art is a way also, or I use art also, as a way to pursue my interests. So I don't have to be in a very specific position for the rest of my life. I can go for different interests and make analysis of different realities. I think art is a way to build notions or certainties. I don't want to talk about truth. I would say what art does is what a boat does in the water, like these water trays. We call it in Spanish estela, like what's left behind. I think art is a vehicle for dialogue. And I think that can be given through love and understanding. And this may be very naive, but I think it's true. I think I'm almost there. I think art is a way to hunt, to get to some place, to find your prey. I think it's a way to see. It's a perspective. I think it's a mirror. Like, what actually I like about art is I can have a mirror to look at reality, because if I look directly to reality, I get paralyzed. But if I have this representation area, I can be active. I think art is a tool, a very important tool. Anyone you can imagine. I think it's an open window. I think it's an open door. I think it's an eye with no prejudgments. And I think it might be a ladder on the wall. I want to show you one last thing, and then I would like to have some dialogue with you. If you have any questions, any opinion, please do. I'm going to show you the trailer for my movie.
Creo que hay personas que mueren y personas que pueden no morir. Que según su comportamiento, según su forma de ser, uno se va afianzando tal vez a la eternidad.